I'm Mark Elling. I'm the boot test coordinator for the America's Best Boot Fitters Boot Test. We're here at Mount Bachelor in Bend, Oregon. This is the traditional headquarters of the annual boot test. We started here in early 90s and we're still going strong. It is early April and it is full on winter here. We skied waist deep powder for the last couple days. And now we're kind of cycling into some more groomer type conditions and a real mix of weather. If you can see the boots behind me, you can see we've got representation virtually from every Alpine brand. Each brand submits 6 boots, 3 men's models and 3 women's models in a variety of different categories. We test the spectrum from a front side boot, which is almost like a race boot, all the way to a full-blown backcountry boot, and a few different categories in between. We've got all-mountain traditional boots, which would be your most common boot you see riding the chair at a ski area. We have all-mountain free-ride boots, which would be a hike mode boot with tech compatibility. Real popular and growing market segment and category for us. And then we've also got some convenience-oriented boots, which we call an all-mountain walk boot. So a hike mode without tech fittings. So virtually every new boot that's going to be hitting the market for next fall, we're testing right now. The purpose is to produce reviews that will air on bootfitters.com. That's our website for America's Best Boot Fitters. You'll be able to get those in late August or early September. We've got about 25 testers. We've also probably got about 25 or 30 brand representatives that are here, and it's a bit of a boot geek festival. And if you want to walk through here, we can kind of show you how everything works. Cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the boot categories and some of the representative models that are here. This would be a representative backcountry category entry. This is the new Scarpa Maestrale RS. And what you'll notice is obviously there's a hike mode, there's tech compatibility, but the thing that really defines the backcountry boot typically is a full rockered outsole. We are finding some that are grip walk compatible as well, but it's not a removable plate. So this would be the lightest weight boot that we're testing, most conducive to uphill travel. But because we are definitely descent oriented, the backcountry boots that are entered in this test are not rondo race style boots. They're definitely descending backcountry boots. So let's go a little further and we'll show you the other end of the spectrum on the front side category. So this would be an example. This is the Nordica Doberman 5 Stiff. So a front side boot is kind of the heaviest boot that we test, partly because it's a solid sole boot. There's no removable plate. In terms of the construction, it's very traditional, typically a polyurethane shell and thick shell walls. This is not about lightness and touring. This is about energy transmission and driving a stiff ski on hard snow surfaces at super high speeds. So between the backcountry boot and the front side category boot, that's kind of the opposite ends of the boot spectrum in terms of application. And then in terms of things that we might find in between, we got a lot of different options. Here's an example. Let's grab a Rossignol. We're trying to mimic the customer's experience with a boot try-on when a customer is looking for a new boot. So we're testing the boot straight out of the box. We assess the fit using the stock insole and the stock setup of the boot. Some of our testers may change out to a custom footbed for the on-snow test portion, but in terms of identifying just generally how the boot fits and feels and stands, it's stock out of the box, so it's pretty helpful for a consumer or a skier who's looking for a new boot. When you read our reviews, it should match that person's experience in the shop in the fall when they start their boot search. So this would be an example of your typical all-mountain traditional boot. It has a removable plate. Sometimes these are grippy. Often you'll find now a grip walk sole on the bottom. This would not be a grip walk sole. It's flat, kind of old school Alpine norm plate. You'll notice there's no hike modality, right? So it's not a walk mode boot. This is your typical all-mountain ski boot. This one happens to be a wide. It's a 102 millimeter last. So within these categories, we also split the boots into width groups. So we'll test narrows against narrows, mediums against mediums, and wides against wides. So here's another example of a boot that we're testing. This is a new boot from Dalbello. It's called the Cabrio LV 130. So we don't test just traditional 4-buckle overlap boots. We have a few representatives of different brands that have submitted three-piece shells or cabrio boots. So, you know, the defining characteristic is a three-piece shell, right? So there's an exterior tongue, right? The lower is open in the top, and there's a cuff. So three pieces, lower, cuff, and tongue. Some of these liners are designed to be cooked in a convection oven. We're going to test all these boots stock out of the box. After testers have skied the boot in its stock configuration, we may cook these liners to mold them and do a secondary custom test. So we got a lot of different things going on here over the course of a full 8 days of testing to produce some reviews that are actually something you can trust. Very objective. There's no pay to play. Brands do not have to pay to be here. This is something we do to really, you know, ensure that there's some reviews on the market that are objective and open source, and you can find those at bootfitters.com.